Hello, and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and you may have heard an echo there. I'll have to check that later. Settings stuff. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena, I'm not sure what the hell I'm doing. I'm gonna be honest. I just got home in the last like 6 hours. I don't even know. I don't know when I got home. I got home, I unpacked, I crashed onto the bed after epic traveling shenanigans. Although this definitely won't be like a lot of travel story, because travel story, while possibly relatable, is always, it's either my planes went great and everything was fine, or my plane did not go well. I missed a flight and I had to rent a car and drive for 5 hours to get home because the last flight of the day was canceled, and that kind of stuff. I put some of it on Twitter if you care a lot about travel stuff. But anyway, no fancy editing. My awesome editor, who we'll call Rudy, from YouTube Makers, has been making sure that videos get edited and posted every day while I've been at PAX East and out of town for the last week. However, I ran out of video footage because I got home about 12 hours later than I thought I would. So today you're getting a straight to YouTube dose of CGB. And I'm not quite sure what to do with it, but I think I'd just play this deck. For one thing, I haven't played Arena in about a week. I have been not online. Preparing for PAX and getting to PAX and participating in PAX has kept me completely off the client. So I don't have a deck prepared. So I use one of the resources that I use when I don't know what to play. It's MTG Arena Deck Lists on Twitter. MTG Arena Deck Lists on Twitter. Or maybe it's just Arena Deck Lists. I don't want to give a false shout out, so I'm going to double check my work. And since there's nobody to edit this, you're going to get to me awkwardly typing on the internet and making faces like this as I look around for what I'm trying to find. Arena Deck Lists, at Arena Deck Lists on Twitter. They post, whenever somebody posts stuff about being Mythic, they will retweet and you get some interesting decks out of it. Every now and then you get a lot of mono red, you get a lot of Esper, you get a lot of Gruul, you get a lot of the usual, but every now and then you get something weird, and that's what we have here. So this deck was tweeted out as being a Mythic deck. It is a green deck that plays 4 different colors. It has 2 fine finalities which cross over to black, with only 3 black lands in the deck, but there's also Incubation Druid, so you only need 1 of them, and Hadana's Climb, which produces any color of mana. There's also Tristani and 3 Deputies of Detention for white, and there's 8 sources of white. I tweeted back to the person who posted this originally and asked them about the mana base and if it needs more of these lands. They said they're just using the lands that they have. So many of you might be able to relate, and I'm just gonna roll with it as it is. I'm not going to try to tweak it too much. You may want to make some changes to the mana base, but this deck is interesting and unique to say the least. It doesn't have Wild Growth Walker, instead going with Growth Chamber Guardian and Incubation Druid, the Branch Walker, the Jade Light, the Deputy, the Hadana's Climb, all the stuff. And of course, all the Hydroid Crassus. Let's go play some games. It looks like a fun deck to me, and I'll probably just tell you some stories about my experience at the Invitational. You'll probably actually see me stop to drink water, which I've been doing in between games, and my editor has not allowed to be caught on camera often. But my throat is pretty shot. And if you want more stories from the Mythic Invitational, I'm sure I'm going to, as well as talk about the War of the Spark new preview cards, you should come by the stream later today. Ranked. Nope, you're not it. Too many deck boxes with a big old Hydroid Crassus on them. Hello? Matches have been disabled. What? Try again later or update your client. I guess I'll try to update the client. All live, my friends. All live today for CGB content. I guess there's always story time. There's always story time with CGB. But first of all, I won't be able to tell you many stories about PAX without talking about MTG Nerd Girl. And if you don't already follow her on Twitch or Twitter, you should probably do both. She's an excellent player and wonderful person, and I'm really enjoyed getting to know her. Yay! No, still out. All right, story time with CGB it is. So, I met her. Well, we met. Met is a hard word because I knew of her for a long time, and she's like stopped in my channel many times just to say hi over like the last year or so, but like I don't know if we've really talked or anything like that. When the Mythic Invitational was announced, I tried to offer my help, my playtesting support to anybody who I had sort of a working relationship with. That means a lot of other streamers who are in the event, primarily streamers. All streamers, I'll be honest. It was all other streamers. I really wanted to see a streamer do well in this event, preferably multiple streamers, because if it goes well and there's a lot of views and the streaming personalities do well, maybe they will invite more streaming personalities in the future. And just in general, I wanted to see them perform well against the best players in the world. Without question, they did, and I give a lot of credit. But one person who actually took me up on the offer and wanted to schedule playtest sessions and actually do testing type stuff was MTG Nerd Girl. Most other people we talked on Discord. Skybills is a player I spent an hour doing a playtest session with, but MTG Nerd Girl was all in about getting better and making this a big thing. So over the last couple of weeks leading up to the event, we tested online for several hours, played a lot of different decks, and came up with an interesting lineup for the tournament. First of all, mono red. Probably none of you are excited about that. I understand. What was it? I'm going to try to tweak the deck list to be exactly what she played. Show you what we got here. It was something like this and Frenzy. Yep. So this is the list that we ran for mono red. Nothing too inspiring here. And it was within like one card of the mono red that got the furthest in the tournament, I believe. You can fact check me on that. Maybe I'm wrong. But the list that the pros played were very similar too. We wanted to trim on some numbers of Skewer the Critics and Wizard's Lightnings because they do make hands that don't draw perfectly or at least reasonably well much more awkward. You don't want a bunch of these in your hand without a way to damage the opponent or a wizard. So that's why we shaved on that a little bit. You don't want 4 frenzies in your you don't want the 4th frenzy in your hand. Plus on 19 mountains we're not always going to get there, so 3 frenzies was trying to do the job. I don't hate 4 frenzies. It's definitely one of the strongest cards in the deck and your best hope in an Esper match that got away from you. But we wanted all 4 Goblin Chain Whirler. This is a card some players were trimming, some of the pros were trimming leading up to the tournament. And we wanted them all because of the white matchup. Because our other deck, which I'm about to show you, didn't have a great matchup with mono white. So we wanted all the Chain Whirlers as our best chance to beat the mono white deck, because that's where we expected to run the red deck whenever we got the chance, is when we thought our opponent would be on mono white in game 3. Oh, this other deck. The deck that lit the web on fire. Maybe that's a bit too strong of a statement, but I'm really happy with the credit that Brittany's received for this deck. Oh, by the way, if you go to her stream, please do not call MTG Nerd Girl Brittany. Please use MTG Nerd Girl online. However, I didn't walk around the tournament calling her nerd or girl. Nerd is a phrase that was used pretty viciously on me growing up, so I don't feel right calling other people that most of the time. And girl is something I've been conditioned not to call women because they will hit me very hard for it in roller derby. So I just really couldn't go with either. So when you hear Brittany, please don't use that on her stream. But I was really excited about this deck. This was very much her work. She brought this in and wanted to play test it a lot, and I was instantly skeptical. The original build had 4 Hydroid Crassus, 4 Negates, no Spell Pierce, and 2 Galta, was something like this. So this was the original deck that she brought into testing. and we worked on it a little bit. The Hydroid Crassus was a neat idea, but often she'd draw 2 of them and a Galta, and they were just too mana intensive to make Galta better. Also, we figured out really quickly that Galta was key in so many matchups that we just needed more. It was your best chance against white. You absolutely had to have it in a mirror type match against another big green deck. It destroys Temur Reclamation, which would later happen in the tournament. And it is an excellent finisher for every other deck. Like red can't deal with it. Really, Esper still has to kill it immediately, and Cast Down doesn't hit it. Cast Down's a big problem for the deck because of Steel Leaf and Nullhide. So you trimmed on the Crassus. The negates, having 2 mana open was often very hard, but sometimes we didn't always have them against Esper when we needed them. So Spell Pierce made its way into the deck along with some of the negates to get us up to an essential 5 copies to beat those Esper decks into submission. And that went very, very well. The mana base certainly could use more blue sources, but we cannot compromise the Steel Leaf Champion. It's just not good. So when you go to a mana article and say that Frank Karsten says this, this, and that, you're right, he does. The mana base is not optimal, and we played it in a tournament anyway. That's the power of the good draws and the reasonable draws that the deck has, and it's specifically great matchups against the decks we expected most pros to be on, the combination of red and Esper. So against red and against Esper, this is a highly advanced, this deck is pretty strong. Somewhere in the 60% range, although it's always hard to get your stats to line up perfectly because your testing is not exactly what we played against in the tournament. But when we knew that we had a good deck against red and Esper, we knew that if they brought the combination of red and Esper, that we would have 2 favored matchups. And then we wanted our other deck just to be good enough to steal a game here or there. And that's what red did, as well as match up against white, because against white, we might be able to do our Thorn Lieutenant thing. We might be able to play Galta. We might even be able to play a big Hydroid Crassus. It won't matter. They can still go really wide and really tall. And unlike Sultai, we don't have Find Finality. I thought about splashing it and working on it, but it just was a bit much with the Nullhide Ferox, and I eventually had to let that idea go. But Find Finality is the key card for the Sultai style decks against white. This deck doesn't have anything like that, so eventually the white deck is just too wide, gets a big attack off because of History of Benalia or because of Unbreakable Formation, and goes around you. The best draws against white involve an unanswered Wildgrowth Walker gaining a ton of life into a Galta, into a big Hydroid Crassus to cut off the flyers and Sky Marcher or Spirant that are probably nibbling at you for a very long time. And it's not good. So that is why we had red and all those Chain Whirlers to try to contain the white deck, although that also is not the most perfect of matchups. So that's a little bit of the testing process. Brittany says she's going to come on to the show later this week. I'll probably record a video with her, and she can talk more about her epic plays in the tournament. I just have never watched Magic and felt so excited in my life. Also, just so you know, she made me her +1, which meant I got to hang out in the Players Lounge with all the pros and the other streamers, which was amazing. I got a badge that gave me access to all the PAX things, and a special, this is probably the highlight, a special line that I got to go through that was very short while all the other lines were very long. VIP status. And it was rather, and yeah, it just made the whole experience much better. So getting to +1 for all this stuff was pretty amazing. I got to watch most of her matches, including the ones that were off camera. I could see what was going on. She was placed on stage multiple times and placed near the windows on the side multiple times. So I got to watch all these games, but she probably has stories to tell about those as well. But I will say that the match that she played on camera was very good, but not close to the best. She had many amazingly fortunate top decks, as well as amazingly good plays and exciting moments. I'll share one of my favorites. It might be one of hers as well. I think there's an interview on Twitch where she talks about it. And that is, she's playing her deck, the Galta deck is what I call it. I call it the Galta deck. That's just what I always said. And playing against Esper, so we'll grab this Esper thing here. And basically the opponent is Wyatt Darby, who is now her teammate on Tempo Storm, a great streamer himself and a Pro Tour champion. And there was, I mean, she just had a really great draw is really all you can say. She had like Thorn Lieutenant into Steel Leaf Champion. Darby tried to mortify, I think it was the Steel Leaf Champion, and she spell pierced it. Then Darby is setting up for a Kai's Wrath the next turn. She untaps, plays Galta with 2 mana up, passes back to Wyatt, smashes him down to like, you know, 5 or whatever it was. Wyatt goes for the Wrath, it gets negated. Just how we drew it up. Very exciting game, at least for us as designers of the deck. Not exciting necessarily if you're a Wyatt Darby fan and we're watching the game, as it seemed like she just drew perfect, and you know, what can you do? But for the creators, for the creator and tuner of the deck, it was exactly what she wanted to happen, and because she does not like Esper Control. Nothing I could do could get her to play Esper Control, so we decided we had to have decks that could beat it in the lineup. And then the third game, Wyatt didn't play Esper, which most of the pros played Esper in game 3, but Wyatt played red, and red versus the green deck, well, these creatures are really big. These creatures are really big. I think the board ended with Brittany still having something like 18, 16 life, Nullhide Ferox, Galta on the board, Steel Leaf Champion, Wild Growth Walker. Like it was a bloodbath, and that game was real excited, and that was her win in to complete her 3-0 advance to day 2. Like many people, I know that Brittany was afraid that this was going to be an 0-2 smashing by some of the best players in the world and a sad showing, but instead she finished as the last woman standing in the event, and at 4-2, very respectable for somebody who plays limited as much as she does, and I hope she's proud of herself. I think she is. I'll also say that she's one of the best companions you can have at an event, because she never made me feel like a fifth wheel or an outsider or an outcast, and without question, she threw the best party of any of the Magic personalities on the night at the official arena party. The girl knows how to have fun, and everybody certainly did. So, with that in mind, let me restart the client again and see if I can get back into the arena. The CGB talk show certainly feels like it's going on long enough, and I had hoped to show you some gameplay, because I'm not the type to skip gameplay. I know that that's what you're here for, and I like to showcase a different deck every single day, every chance I get. But it seems like the client isn't updating, which means we might still be on that downtime. Sorry, my friends. I have an insane amount of work to do. I'm incredibly behind, so I should probably go do that. I'm gonna give playing one more try. Cross your fingers. No. How about practice? Maybe we can try this new practice mode? I never thought about that. No. Nope, can't even practice. Nope, can't do that. All right. Well, since I'm a bit stranded there, what else can I talk about? We can talk about War of the freaking Spark. That's what we can talk about. Let me see if I can pull up a browser window here. So, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, it is amazing. Let me pull that. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Who knows what'll open when I open my YouTube. Ugh. But yeah, if you haven't seen the promo for War of the Spark, the trailer for War of the Spark yet, with our dear sweet Liliana, well, I think you just gotta do it. So why isn't my webcam here? Oh, I think I know. Let's see if we can do this. Ah! Mega Head CGB. Make it stop. Okay, so I haven't seen a lot of these, but so much was spoiled in one day from the next set. It's absolutely insane. The War of the Spark trailer on the official Twitch live stream, I know it was muted the first time, but if you go back and you watch like the footage up from the panel immediately afterwards, they cut to a shot of me in the audience with Jamie Topples, another streamer, and we are crying. We are literally crying. amazing trailer. Basically, Liliana making her... I shouldn't give it away. Just watch the trailer on YouTube. Search for War of the Spark trailer and get blown away. It is amazing. So check that out. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Linkin Park? Jeez, oh Pete's. Wizard shelling out the money, getting those songs on there. It's just great. It's great. And then they spoiled a ridiculous amount of cards, many of which I haven't seen because I was traveling yesterday. And as you can see, with all these Planeswalkers in the set and already spoiled, we've got a lot to sift through. And a few of the ones from the panel that I've seen, like I haven't even read some of these. I'm excited to do it, but I can't even tell like what this is. As long as it's your turn, it's a 4/4 human soldier that's indestructible. So you don't have to activate it. Most of the time, Gideon turns into this 4/4 human soldier that's indestructible with an activation. Now Planeswalkers will have static abilities. So abilities that are always in effect, which is very unique for Planeswalkers. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to it. So yeah, it's a 4/4 indestructible. Damage can't do anything to it during your turn. 1 white. It's pretty darn good. +1 up to 1 other target creature you control gains vigilance, lifelink, or indestructible. That's pretty great too. And a -6 that exiles target non-land permanent. So we're talking about a 3 mana 4/4 human soldier with indestructible on your turn. It can be attacked, so that's a bit of the downside. +1 is give something vigilance, lifelink, or indestructible. I mean, that seems really good. Probably a bit matchup dependent, but really good. And it doesn't immediately replace anything in the white aggro deck, but it might just be better than certain cards, especially in certain matchups. Is History of Benalia better than this? Not always. Not always. So, God, that Gideon's going out swinging, my friends. Going out swinging. Unbelievable. These cards, like I haven't read the new Chandra. Jace came out. If you haven't checked out this card looks absolutely amazing to me. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, you win the game. Mill yourself, win the game. And remember, Drowned Secrets is in the format. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. So you can mill your opponent or you can mill yourself. Draw a card. So the +1, just draw a card. It's 4 mana, 4 loyalty, +1, draw a card. Doesn't protect itself. It's kind of scary, but it's a Jamade Tome. Okay. -8, draw 7 cards. If your library has no cards in it, you win the game. So this card is fine. It's not as versatile as other Planeswalkers. What's missing is that ability to protect itself. You can't really play this or you can, but if you play this when your opponent has some creatures, they'll just come over and kill it. And all you did was draw a card and gain a little bit of life. It's a kind of expensive draw card fog. Cryptic Command. It's kind of like a 1-mode Cryptic Command if the opponent can attack it to death. In matchups where the opponent can't attack it to death, say control matchups or just slower strategies, or you killed all their creatures, this card can take over and win the game in given time, which is pretty excellent. The triple blue and the casting cost is interesting, but mana bases are solid right now with the Shocklands, so I think we're doing all right there. And I think we'll see some Jace Wielder of Mysteries self-mill decks in the future, which is pretty exciting. We also have Liliana, the Dreadhorde General, which looks pretty good. It's 6 mana, 6 loyalty. Whenever a creature dies, you draw a card. That's your static ability. That's pretty great. Create a 2/2 zombie token for a +1, and -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures, and -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each type and sacrifices the rest. So 1 land, sacrifice the rest. 1 creature, sacrifice the rest. This is a pretty sweet one. The each player side is interesting because remember, when your creatures die, you draw a card. But if you have no creatures and the opponent just has to sacrifice 2 creatures, that is really good, even at 6 mana. I think that this competes reasonably well with Vraska Relic Seeker. Vraska might be a little bit more versatile, where this is a little bit more just kind of in-your-face power. But I think it's good. and I do think it will make an appearance. The easiest home I can think of right now is the Sultai and Golgari mid-range decks, just because that's a place where the ability to sacrifice the creatures probably won't hurt you too badly. It's also really good in the mirror there for Carnage Tyrant. Those Carnage Tyrant wars now have a significant trump in Liliana, the Dreadhorde General. Chandra, I have not read this card at all. Fire Artisan. What's with the ugly images? 2 red, and you get whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra, she deals that much damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Okay. And then it's a +1, so whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from. Okay, so +1 isn't going to do that. Exile top card, you may play it. Similar to Jace, with kind of the red way of drawing cards, which is you get 1 turn to make the play. And -7 is exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So the -7 would also deal 7 damage to an opponent or planeswalker. Also, whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra. So that also means when she takes damage. So if the opponent attacks Chandra with a 5/5 creature because you played her and plussed her on your first turn, and Chandra dies to that creature, removing 5 loyalty from the Chandra, it will deal 5 damage back to that creature or to the player if you want. So I think this card is much better than the other Jace, at least for that matter, that it also gets you value back. It sort of defends itself in that it takes something with it. It's a 2-for-1 in that way, and if you untap with it, it can be much more than a 2-for-1, so I think it's very strong. The place where it is weak is cards that directly kill planeswalkers, removing loyalty from it without damaging it. A Vraska's Contempt, for example, type effect doesn't care about this ability, and then all you did was pay 4 mana and get nothing but trade with the Contempt. So I still think that this looks pretty strong. Then we have Nissa, who shakes the world. Nissa, little lady world shaker. She is a 3 green. Whenever you tap, I haven't seen this card at all either, just so you know. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional G. Ooh, she doubles your forest mana. Okay. And it says a forest for mana, not a basic forest. So this works with Breeding Pool and Temple Garden, cards like that. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it. It's a 0/0 elemental with vigilance and haste. That's still land. That is your +1. Goes to 6 loyalty. Turn 1 of your lands into a 3/3 vigilant haste. The vigilance is actually pretty clutch. It can attack, then tap for mana, and if it's a forest, it can tap for double mana. That's pretty cool. Also, you can make mana, possibly double mana with a forest, then plus to untap the forest, and then tap it for more mana, possibly after attacking as well. So that's all interesting sequencing with a lot of play. -8. You get an emblem with lands that you control have indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards, put them into play tapped, and shuffle. Not the greatest emblem I've ever seen. You can pull a lot of forests out of your deck. I'm not sure what you do with them. You just gave up doubling your forest mana, and now you're getting forests out of your deck. Doesn't seem like a very good ultimate to me. Lands have indestructible. Plenty of you will tell me why that is important, but I'm not quite sold. The +1 though is versatile and interesting enough for a ramp strategy that she still may see some play, but I'm not sold on Nissa, who shakes the world. I think that she might help generate a lot of mana for a Hydroid Crisis or something like that. I don't know if you ever want to do the minus. Interesting. Maybe somebody can tell me why I'm wrong. So there's a lot of other cards here. I'm not going to go through them all. People are going to freak out over Tibble. We'll talk about them all on a different video, a different time. For today, I just thought I'd cover a few to fill up the video time because I wanted to give you content. Didn't quite work. I kind of failed because apparently matchmaking is all down and stuff. So I'm going to give it one more restart. Cross your fingers. One more shot for the day for CGB before I have to go do some other work. What do you got? What do you got? Do we get to go play in the Magic game today? I didn't see an update there. Yep. Yep. All right. Well, to end the video, I'll go out with a little bit more CGB talk. Because most people didn't get to see Brittany's final match. She was on stage, but not on camera. And as one of the last streamers, there were still a few other streamers. Shavitz and Asian Avenger were still in the event, but she was among the last streamers, and she was the last woman in the event. And it would have been, I think, nice to get to see her do battle with the reigning player of the year, Luis Salvato, on camera. She played... I was very nervous, and I know that she was feeling the pressure, but she played very, very well despite it. She took the game to a very close game 3. She won a very, very close game 2 with her red deck by playing perfectly. Took it to game 3. Absolutely gave it her best, but it wasn't meant to be. And when she took the loss with class, head held high, shook the guy's hand, never cracked, didn't break, took it like a real champion. And I'm just, I'm very happy to be to have had this opportunity to work with her. I'm happy for her performance, and I am just thrilled with how she did. Like many competitors, she was afraid of that 0-2 just get demolished by the pros finish, but instead I think she showed that her Magic the Gathering limited draft and sealed skills transfer over very well. She has excellent Magic instincts. I'm sure that she's going to do some great things in the future, and I hope I get to be a part of that as well. I hope that we continue to test and work together, because she's just a really genuinely nice person, a very fun person to hang out with, and really helped make PAX the exciting event that it was for me. So with that, I'm going to upload this video. There will be more videos this week, hopefully with some editing, and hopefully we'll get Brittany on the show in the near future to talk about her tournament and things like that. And if you haven't already, check out MTG Nerd Girl on Twitch and on Twitter. Give her a follow. It's always nice, like it helps me, or it makes me proud when you say that CGB sent you. And thanks to everybody. I hope you enjoyed the videos while I was gone. I haven't been responding to many comments or looking at very much about the videos. I've been hitting the heart button on some comments while I was gone. Thank you to everybody who liked and commented on the posts I made in the YouTube community feed. That's kind of a new thing for me. I don't know how much I'll do it. To all of you who think I looked really creepy in that photo, thanks. It's always nice to hear you look creepy, you know? Just makes you feel so good inside to think you're just the scariest looking dude. But actually, I posted that on purpose because I thought it would get a little bit of reaction from some of you. There's a nicer picture where I smile. Maybe I'll put that up later. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. If you stayed till the end, please put "stayed to the end" in comments, because I don't know if people actually watch these no gameplay, just talky type videos, especially the ones without the uploading. If they just watch the Storytime with CGB videos, I don't know if people are into that or how many watch the whole thing. So it actually does my heart good to see "stayed till the end" in comments. Thank you so much. Well, I hope you enjoyed this not that exciting day in the arena, but the story time in the arena. That's what we'll call it. Thank you for watching Storytime in the Arena. Thank you for watching this video. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.